It's me, Gene, from the Morning Bounce, and I feel like the word legend gets tossed around a lot, but today I've got two legends in the studio with me, Matt and Jeff, the Hardy Boyz fellas. How we doing?
Very good. Thank you, Mean Gene. How are you, man?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for asking. We're going to talk about Bound For Glory, and you guys having the full Metal Mayhem match for the TNA Tag Team titles and the TV tapings on Sunday. But I've got to talk to you about a video that I watched on the internet a couple of months ago that made me very excited. Okay. And I need some context behind this. It's you guys excited. With Brother Zay singing "If I Ever Fall in Love."
Oh yeah.
Talk to me about this video. You guys were eating beef patties. You had the do-rags on. What was going on?
So he knew. So that was our shtick. Like myself and my brother, a guy named Jason Arndt, who was Joy Abs, if anybody remembers the Main Street Posse, and Champagne Marty Garner. We would travel and do WWE work. Like if we would drive and we were enhancement talent, you know, in the early to mid '90s. That was one of our songs. That was a go-to. We would always sing that Shaw song. It was one of our favorite songs ever. We literally had songs that we would kind of karaoke sing all the while on the trip. And like I remember one day, like I was with Zay and Quinn, and that song came on, and I started singing, and they said, "You know all the words?" I said, "Of course I do. It's like one of my favorite songs." Yeah. And every time we'd get in the car, if we were driving, and those guys, they're like my kids, man. I call them my bios.
Yeah.
So proud of them, and I still talk to them all the time, giving them advice or whatever else, and you know, I want nothing but the best for them. And it's so funny because they're just like, "Okay, we got your playlist queued up," and then we hit the stuff if we're traveling together, and then we know what we would sing.
Yeah. Man. Can I get a little sample right now? Yeah.
There's a ride-along like show we did with WWE, and I was driving and we were singing that, and that I've went back and listened to that. I'm like, oh my God, why can't I do that sound like that with my original music? I got to find that range because I love the way that sounded sonically.
Maybe you need to do some R&B.
Here you go, Jeff. How's it going?
All right.
If I say that I could be your one and only, promise that you'll never leave me lonely. I just want to be the one you need. Oh, baby, I just want to be the one to serve you. Sometimes I feel as if I don't deserve you. I cherish every moment that we share. And if I ever fall in love again, I will be sure that the lady is a friend. And if I ever fall in love, so true, I will be sure that the lady's just like you.
Yes.
There you go. Post that and tag
me. You love to see it, man. It's such a great song. I mean, and I think the song came out of like '94, so that's that's 40 years. Song. And it still is great now as it was.
Oh, my God, yeah.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So Sunday, you got the System, you've got ABC, Full Metal Mayhem, which is a match that you guys made famous, you know, back in the early 2000s. Talk to us about this match and the fact that, you know, we're here 20 plus years later and you're still, you know, killing it in the game.
Well, thank you. It's going to be exciting. You know, we've had a lot of issues with the system ever since I got here. When I first returned to TNA, Jeff was still under contract in another dimension. But I came back and I started a program and feud with Moose. And my initial goal was to come back and procure and win the TNA World Heavyweight title. And then in that match, the system screwed me out of it. My wife ended up getting attacked, and then my brother ended up showing up and making the save. It was a big deal. And then we kind of turned our focus towards the tag team titles, and we had them beat in Philadelphia for the tag team titles. And then Dango came out. He intentionally got them disqualified. He hurt my brother. So it's just this whole rivalry has been building. And we finally got them in the position where they thought they weren't going to have to defend against myself or Jeff or ABC because they just jumped both of us, and our match was a no contest. And then Santina Morella ended up making it a triple threat in a Full Metal Mayhem. And we're excited for that because even though we're older and we're not as young and healthy as we used to be, we are still the masters of that game.
Correct.
You know, so we think this is our opportunity to win the TNA World Tag Team titles.
That's awesome. Which is titles that you've won many times in the past. You've won tag team championships all over the world. What would make this title on Saturday night special compared to all the other ones?
Well, I'm terrified and excited. I'm nervous and, you know, exhilarated about having this opportunity in a Full Metal Mayhem match. My brother just turned 50. Wow. You know, I'm 47 years old, and to still be doing what we love to do, this craft of pro wrestling. It's very important because this is, you know, this feels like our last run, and I think that's what makes it very important for us to be the champions one more time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's one of those things too. I think AEW kind of takes a different approach towards pro wrestling in general. I think they focus more on like the in-ring competition, and I think both of us, while we were there, we felt like we weren't being utilized to our maximum, you know, and just to prove to ourselves that we still got it and we can still rock and roll and be at the top of our game. This match is so important, and just winning these tag titles and having a great run as World Tag Team Champions and leading the division and helping build other teams is something that we take a lot of pride in, and it's what we want to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. So speaking of that other dimension, as we say, Jeff, you went viral on you know, the internet and Twitter when you did show up in that dimension, because everyone's like, hey, your brother's getting his ass kicked and you're here dancing on the studio on the stage. Did you see all of that discourse, and how did you take it, like, you know, as you see all that kind of
I was just so nervous. Like, it's always, you know, scary when you show up in a new wrestling world, and I didn't know what to do, and that was, you know, like, yeah, just be yourself kind of was going on in my head, and I was like, can I run and do the juke at the same time? and just the adrenaline going through that curtain, there's no turning back there. I just went for it, and it is what it is. It was what it was.
And I think too, full disclosure, even with that, like, my mindset is I wanted, when the guys jumped on me, I wanted them to start kicking my ass. But then, like, the Hardy Boyz music, we knew we had that. The Hardy Boyz music hits, and they stop and they turn, and I wanted Jeff to come out because he is a rock star. Like, really, our terms on the team, I think it sums it up great. He's the rock star, like I'm the architect in many, many ways. I want him to just walk out, cool as a cucumber, right? Just the coolest dude in the room. Come out and hit the juke because he's a big star. Boom, 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 boom. And then, like, come to the ring and hit it. But I wanted everyone to stop. But they just kept kicking me and beating me up. There was no balls in their game. You know, they were gonna get theirs in.
Yeah.
So he said, "Oh, I guess I better speed it up." And he kind of half ran and half juked, and there was, like, he doesn't see any of the discord. In some ways, I'm envious that I can't be like my brother, because he doesn't care about the internet. He doesn't read anything on it. He just, you know, like, he does something artistic, he'll put it on Instagram, but doesn't even look at the comments. You know what I mean?
Wow.
He's truly an artist, but, like, he lives in, like, a different world where he doesn't see any of that feedback. And I became very callous to it, and I understand, you know, whether you're getting insulted or complimented online, it's not actually real. You know what I mean? It's not coming from someone in a place that understands specifically what you're doing.
Of course.
You can look at it, and it's fun to look at, but you can't take it too serious or too personal. And that's one thing that I worry about with young kids coming up in the business. It's hard because that's where you get instant feedback, and it's some of the most vicious, and, you know, you'll see a lot of cruel things on there too.
It's always one end of the extreme.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it always is one of the extreme. Yes.
And on top of that, it's like, you know, the Mike Tyson quote. I think it was Mike Tyson
Yes.
who said that.
Yeah, it was.
The internet's got everyone where they can say anything and not worry about getting punched in the face. Because those people that are giving you this feedback, if you walked past them right now, they'd be like, "Oh my God, it's Matt Hardy. I love you. Can I get a picture?" But then they're on Twitter or Instagram in the comment section being assholes, for lack of a better word.
100%. There has never been a point, never, at any signing or any time in public, where someone has came up and said something derogatory to either one of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they won't. I mean, it's something they do online because you have the safety of being behind the keyboard. You're not accountable. You know what I mean? And no one can really be held responsible for that. You know, when it's all said and done. But no one has ever done that in person.
Yeah, absolutely not. Because, again,
Yep.
you can actually punch somebody in the face. So we actually had Joe Hendry up here yesterday, and he mentioned that on Sunday that you and him are doing a concert together. Now, you guys are having a match for the TNA World Tag Team titles on Saturday night. He's fighting for the TNA World title on Saturday. So is this going to be like a celebration, double celebration concert? Talk to me a little bit more about that.
I hope so. I had no idea what this was until I saw it on Instagram. I'm like, oh my God! So I hope we know some of the same songs. I'll be there, and whatever, you know, I'm ready for whatever, man. He's amazing what he's been doing, man, in the pro wrestling world. I'm such a fan of him now, and I'm looking forward to jamming some tunes with him.
Very, very cool.
And Joe is a hustler. I saw him today in the hotel just briefly, right after we got there, and I was like, man, I've been following your stuff, and I said, like, he's been in a different city, doing different, you know, meet and greets, doing different signings, you know, doing media, whatever it may be. I mean, he truly hustles, and he's so good at, like, understanding how to optimize himself on social media, and he understands how to get something going viral. He's really intelligent when it comes to that, and on top of it, he gets the entertainment aspect of pro wrestling.
That's awesome. So it's crazy because you mentioned that you've been doing this for 30, how many years?
We just entered year 33.
Year 33. So
we started, our first match was on October the 15th, 1992.
Wow, that's Wow, that's crazy. That's amazing that you've had that longevity, but it's also crazy sometimes, like, I'll go back and watch an old Raw while I'm doing something, and I'm like, hey, there's Matt Hardy getting his ass kicked by Crush.
Right.
You guys started super young, right? Were you guys still teenagers when you had first started doing some work with WWE, or how old were you when that started?
Yeah, I was 18 when we started, but Jeff was actually 16, and I'll let him tell you the story too. I remember the guy who took us up there. It was Italian Stallion and George South. I said, "Are you sure? Can my brother go? He's 16. Like, you have to be 18 to wrestle." He said, "No, it's fine. Just tell him to get a note from your dad, and it's fine." and then what did he tell you when you had to sign the release form?
Yeah, I just had to say that I was 18 on that.
He said, "Hey, brother, just move your birthday back 2 years."
Yeah.
Move your birthday back 2 years.
A guy in the Raleigh-Durham airport asked me about that this morning, just a wrestling fan. He said, yeah, what was that like? It was just terrifying. I was 16 years old, still in high school, and it was so unreal, man. But that was 1994.
Yeah.
1994.
1994.
And just having to do that and then
May
wrestling Scott
94.
Hall, and that ring back then was such a hard ring. Oh my God! It was before they went to a plane. He was rough with him. He made me feel it out there, man. Every one of them, and it was very intimidating. So, like during that match, I was like, oh man, I don't think I'm cut out for this. I don't think I want to do this. But then the next night, I got to wrestle Sean Waltman, the 1, 2, 3 kid, and that went much better. And I still, if you watch that match back, I had no idea what I was doing out there. Yeah, but we eventually learned so much from being those job guys.
What a sweetheart Sean Waltman is too. Kid's like one of the best dudes, man.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So great to see him. I see him around. He's real good. He's real healthy. All those guys too. A lot of the guys in WWF at the time, WWE, they would give the Click a hard time, but the Click, those guys were always cool to us. Like after that match with Scott Hall that he had in the match with Kid, I remember they started calling him Ice because he had a haircut like Vanilla Ice, and he was a dancer. You know what I mean? Like a lot of that, you'd said that before when you were talking about us listening to Shy. Like the first thing we were real big into rap. That's the first music genre. Like Public Enemy is still one of my favorite groups of all time. Okay. Rap was the first music that I actually fell in love with. When we were younger, our dad just had an AM radio, and we listened to like a lot of talk shows and stuff. We didn't really hear a lot of music. Then we heard a few poppy things. Then once we started hearing some rap, we're like, oh, we're on to something here now.
It's like when you give the kid the first taste of the lollipop.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Vanilla Ice was huge for me back in like 90, 91, 92. Oh my God, yeah, I just started cutting my own hair because I heard that he did it in an interview. He said, I cut my own hair with the mirror, and I started doing that. I started dancing with my brothers in Cameron in our little hometown, and man, I was all up, started writing rap songs, and so in wrestling, it was Sting and the Ultimate Warrior. Then in the music, Vanilla Ice was such an inspiration, and motocross, Jeremy McGrath, I think at the time. So that was my 3 worlds I was addicted to.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you had mentioned that, you were 16, still in high school when you first started wrestling. Now, when you come back from New York or up north or wherever it is that you go do these shows, and you come back to North Carolina and these shows air while you're in high school, does that make you the man, or how does that all work when you're back in high school and on national TV at the same time?
I don't know if it made me the man, but I made sure to tell everybody, man, y'all got to watch me get my ass kicked Monday night on live TV. And then the athletic director at our high school said, Jeffrey, are you making any money for these wrestling matches? I said, yeah, they pay us a little bit, but the guy takes a big booking fee. We just come out with about $50 after one match. But he said, well, that'd be like you can't wrestle for us. That'd be like you going to play for the NFL and coming back trying to play football for us. I said, what's a little different? It's a lot different actually.
Yeah, they could jump off the wrestling team.
So I didn't. Yeah,
he was doing enhancement matches.
I didn't do any sports my senior year. But the pro wrestling worked out.
Yeah. That's pretty wild. So I remember, being a high school kid and watching wrestling and like reading the spoilers and stuff. Obviously, I remember you guys, as enhancement guys or whatever. And I remember reading one day, like on SmackDown, the Hardy Boyz win the tag team titles. And I remember looking at it like, huh? You know what I mean? Because you guys were still pretty new. And I think you had guys just gotten linked up with Michael Hayes. So talk to me about, making that transition from the guy who stands in the ring with no entrance music and, playing tights to now being tag team champions, and then kind of building on that and going from there.
The first match we won. So we were doing this, and we got the opportunity to do some dark matches, before the show would start.
Yeah.
Myself and Jason Arndt, Joey Abs, we did a couple of those. Jeff did some, and we got to have some more competitive matches against other talent without being a contracted talent, right? So then eventually we got to this point. He said, Jake the Snake came out, and I think he stooged it off. He said, well, I'm getting a tryout as a producer, but they want to sign you guys. They're going to sign you. He said, in a little while, just stay patient. Keep doing what you're doing because they really like what you got. And we're like, yeah, sure, whatever. You're just saying that. And we were this close to like going to ECW because we've been talking with those guys at this time. And then they offered us a deal. We went to the Funkin' Dojo. We started with a contract. And then eventually they said, okay, we're going to pull the trigger. We're going to put you on TV. We know what we're going to do. And myself and Jeff, they sent us out during the commercial break, whatever. It was on a live edition of Sunday Night Heat at Breakdown, the pay-per-view. And we came to the ring, and I remember Mike Chioda was the ref. We were wrestling Kantai that night. And they said, hey, jobbers, who's going to beat your ass tonight? and Chioda, I remember Chioda came up between us and he put his arm around us. He said, not tonight, brother. And those guys came out. We had that first win. And then, like the next night, I think we beat Too Cool. And then we lost about 10, 12 matches. Then we like beat the Road Warriors out of and then just went on. And then eventually said, okay, well, you're having these great matches with Edge and Christian on the road. We want to put Michael Hayes with you and try and do something. We want to kind of like repackage you. And that's kind of how everything came to be. And then lo and behold, once we started doing the thing with Michael Hayes and we're repackaged and we're much more brooding, darker, and we started wearing what ended up being the iconic look of the Hardy Boyz jeans and the tight shirt, whatever. Vince said, well, let's make these guys champions. Let's make them credible. And that's how we got that first opportunity.
Wow,
and I remember for the first time meeting Doc Hendricks, aka Michael Hayes, there was this weird kind of good vibe and good energy like between us. I know you probably felt that as well, just because we were huge Freebirds fans, growing up. And when I thought about the Freebirds, it was Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin. That's where the juke came from. He used to do a little moonwalk and a deal like that. So, so we always kind of felt like something was going to happen between us.
That's pretty cool. So, going back to there where he kind of influences you, now fast forward all these years later where you're kind of influencing other people, right? I'm sure there's a lot of teams that are around now that you work with or you meet that tell you, I watched you and I patterned my style after you. When you hear people say that, how does that still register? Is that still crazy to hear after all this time?
It kind of is. It's kind of surreal. I felt like that was my relationship with Private Party in many ways. Like, I was going to mentor those guys and work with them. And I saw they just recently did an interview too where they said, like, what is the one thing, Matt taught you that you've really taken to heart and has helped you up your game? And I said, like, you have to be credible. People that are watching you in the crowd have to believe you can fight.
Yeah.
If you got into a fight, you would really beat somebody up. I said, it's cool being able to do all the high flying maneuvers and flips and acrobatics. I said, but if they don't believe you're like credible, if you can't fight, that's a big thing. And I know Michael Hayes really stressed that on us, and that was one of the greatest lessons we learned. And we did. Michael Hayes has been more influential in our career and given us, new ways to think and new ways to construct matches and given us so much advice that has just helped up our game and helped make us into top tier superstars. Without him, we wouldn't have become as popular as we did.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. So this Sunday, Full Metal Mayhem, like I mentioned earlier, it's a match that you guys made famous. Jeff, you were talking to another person in this room earlier, and you said that this match kind of seems like a tipping point in your career. Talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's going to be a colorful, abstract type of Full Metal Mayhem. I'm so excited about this and bringing it to life. But yes, like I'm super excited, but I'm also, I understand here in reality that I am older and we're both a little older and slower, but I still have so much passion for these matches when it comes to tables, ladders, and chairs. And it's just if it goes really well, I'm going to be super excited to, maybe make it until I'm 50, be a wrestler until I'm 50. But if it goes bad and something goes wrong, it might be, oh God, I don't think I have this anymore. So it's going to be a real kind of turning point for me, spiritually, physically, mentally, all that stuff. But I'm excited about it because I think I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be in this human existence right now. And I'm super exciting. Fear is part of the fun.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm excited to be in the ring with Ace Austin and Dashing Chris Bay. Both these guys are extremely talented. I like them both a lot, both professionally and personally. But I think they're going to be amazing in this match. I think it's going to do great things for them regardless. And even though I'm not necessarily fans of their ethics and what Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards do as the system. They are a very talented team. So I think we have all of the elements we need to make magic happen in this match. And we've still got some new original ideas. You know, we still, as we were traveling here this morning, we had our brains ticking, you know what I mean, and they're moving, and we have a lot of cool ideas we want to implement into this match.
Very cool. We mentioned Joe Hendry a little earlier. He has invited Eminem to be in his corner for the main event of Bound for Glory. Are you guys helping him? I know you guys got to know someone that knows Eminem. Are you guys on the phone? Are you trying to facilitate that happening?
We sent letters out to our people, so hopefully our people will contact his people.
There you go. I'll have your people call
We'll
my
see.
people.
Yeah, exactly. You know
Ross
what I mean?
is waiting to hear back from the manager.
But it is one of those things. Like I saw Joe Hendry pop out. He took a picture by the 8 Mile sign.
I saw that too.
Ross took that, and it was his idea. It was a brilliant photo.
Right. Yeah.
And once again, Joe Hendry. Once again, it's still creating buzz. You know, it's still getting people to talk about Bound for Glory. Oh, it's so cool. Maybe Eminem will show up. And like Joe Hendry is a big guy of like. My brother is as well of manifestation.
Yeah.
And he really likes to manifest things and like make them happen. And like he even said like his whole career and journey to getting here, a lot of it was manifestation. So who knows? Never say never in this crazy world of pro wrestling.
That's what's up. And then he also mentioned, he's like, everyone is talking about Bound for Glory, but everybody knows that the day after a lot of big things happen, and we've got some shows here Sunday. Yeah. So, you know, let something out the bag. Come on. Give me something exclusive.
I'll tell you this. We have already decided if we are able to win the TNA World Tag Team titles. So once again, this is a big if. If we're able to win them, we want to defend them that night. And have a half-ass celebration and defend the titles. So you can get to see the Hardys' first title defense in the 4th decade of them holding World Tag Team titles. Because we had titles in the 90s, we had it in the 2000s, we had it in the 2010s, and this would be our first titles, tag titles, major world titles in the 2020s.
Wow. Okay. There you go. There's a little hook for you, right?
Yeah, we want to feed. We want 4 epic extreme decades.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I like that.
Speaking of that sounds good. I think I'll manifest on that in the morning. It's my meditation and my manifestation.
There it is. Fellas, tickets for both shows are still available. TNAWrestling.com is where you can get those. Matt, Jeff, thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to both shows this weekend. I'll be at both.
Thanks for having us.
Can't wait to see you there.